Hi guys, Dan here. Just pulling out some tomatoes which have been growing not very well, so I pull them out, and other things that are at the end of their time in the garden. And you can see just over my shoulder there, digging some ground over, ready for them potatoes to go in. And I'm putting some manure in, going to put some lime in, and I'll show you that later. Some other new additions. You've seen them seedlings, I've got to put them in. But got this enclosure here for a cat that's come up from Sydney, so it's just that's where it goes in the night. And an aviary, got some budgies. They've come up from Sydney as well, so they're all on coronavirus holiday at the moment. There's actually some babies in there too. There's a little baby budgie in there. You can't quite see it, just in the breeding box hiding behind the door there. You might just be able to see the edge of it. It's not going to come out and say hello at the moment. But they only went in yesterday and they've settled in really well. Not the same to be said for the cat. Alright, let's go down the garden. So I've just been adding some compost here, but also cow manure. So this is a cow manure mix on top that you can see that I've actually bought in bulk. It's the first time I bought cow manure in bulk, like from a nursery. Normally I just get it from a dairy, so it's interesting to see how this goes. And some lime as well, powdered lime. Yeah, it's sort of the lime and dolomite together are important to use in the combination, or otherwise just lime. But if you use dolomite on its own, you can end up over compacting the soil, believe it or not. This is the amaranth. I've just been weeding out some of the stuff here, some Swedes from earlier on that didn't quite, they sort of bolted and whatnot. This amaranth has fallen over with the rain. It's quite tall. You can see there the actual grains starting to form on the seed head. It's quite an impressive plant. It hasn't quite matured yet. This will go like a rusty orangey brown colour, kind of like a saffron-y colour. But you can see the individual grains starting to form, so I'm pretty happy with how it's progressing. The wind as well as the rain, which has sort of weakened the stems a bit because they've sort of fallen over and they're probably going to stay down now. It's not an easy way to stick them back up again, but it wouldn't be long until that's harvestable. So I've just made some space to the back there, and making some more space in other parts of the garden so I can put some potatoes in, and I can also put in some seedlings. So I'm just spreading that manure around a bit more. I hadn't quite finished spreading that, so I had to get the manure evenly spread around the areas where I want to improve the soil, and the lime as well. So just this little area at the back here, behind the amaranth. Going to chuck some cow manure in there, and that's going to get some lime as well. I don't think it's pure cow manure. They do advertise it as being cow manure, but from the smell of it, it seems like there might be some chicken manure also incorporated into that. So anyway, you never know, so I'll give it a go the first time. If it works out well, I'll probably keep buying it that way. It's quite an efficient way of getting fertiliser. Much better value for money than buying it in the bag, that's for sure, as long as it's the same product. So I'm just putting some lime now. This is just calcium carbonate mainly. I've already put some dolomite in, so I'm not worrying about dolomite right now. There you go, you can see there. Now I was going to go over this bed as well. A bit of lime on this bed. I'm working quickly, so I get it all done before it rains. So with the lime, I tend to like to put in about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch on the surface. So I don't just make it. You got to be careful not to put too little lime because it can look like you're putting a lot when you're not, just because of the colour of it. So I'll just turn that over. Next step's going to be to chuck some potatoes in. I got these potatoes. I haven't grown potatoes here for much at all really, because they're usually fairly cheap, but I thought I might try some. I'm going to put them in this bed because I also have plenty of brassicas and plenty of silver beet I want to grow, and this bed has copped a lot of silver beet and brassicas over the years, and I've never grown potatoes in it, so I thought, well, I'll put the potatoes in this bed, and then I'll grow the brassicas and silver beet in beds which have, tended to have more capsicums or more parsley or leeks and things like that going in them. So I was just trying to keep a bit of a rotation going between the types of things that I'm growing in the beds, so I'm not having the same plant in the same bed all the time, because that can also, not only does it leach the ground of particular nutrients, but it also promotes disease too. So if you keep moving them around, you don't create an environment where diseases can proliferate year after year. So I'm just making some little trenches here for the potatoes. Now it's an easy mistake to plant potatoes too deep, so I haven't done that. I'll put them in just about below the soil, and as they grow I'll mound them up. So what I'm doing here is just preparing a bed for some English spinach. I've got a lot of English spinach seedlings there which they're way overdue to go in actually. So what I'm going to do here is just add a bit of lime here. I've already added some cow manure and I'm just raking that out, and I'm going to go and grab the English spinach and I'm going to start putting those in. As you can see, the English spinach is well and truly ready to go in, so I'm just going to put them in rows. They're going to go fairly close together, mainly because the English spinach plant is a very small plant. It's surprisingly small, and also have a fair few losses with it in the past, so I don't want to space them out too much. I wouldn't normally plant directly after liming, but in this case I'm just going to put them in because I think they need to go in, and it's going to rain tomorrow, so that'll be a good way of watering them in. Generally I'd probably leave it a day after liming at least, just to let that lime start to neutralise the soil a bit. I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue, so I'm just chucking these seedlings in now. Quite a lot of seedlings. I've grown them from seed, and in a punnet with compost. So I'm just using compost that I've from lawn clippings and vegetable scraps, and that's how I grow my seedlings. And then I've just planted them in straight out into rows. They're pretty tightly spaced, as you can see, so that's pretty close space. But these spinach plants, just like I said before, you'd be lucky to get a 6-inch wide plant out of it, so I don't think it's actually too closely spaced in the long run. Plus you're going to get some losses. Some didn't quite take properly, or there might be some slugs that get in and eat them, snails, whatnot. Birds sometimes like to eat these as well, so it doesn't hurt, you know, just to
That looks good.
put a few extra ones in.
Neat, isn't it?
Yeah, neat.
Marigolds and
I get a
dahlias
bit
will
of
stay.
shape after a long while. Straighten up over the screws.
Yeah. These ones are good, aren't they? These.
I'm just recording on this.
I think. Are they asters?
Could be a bit out
Yeah, I think they're asters. I did put a few aster seedlings in, and I actually planted them direct seed, but only a few of them came up. The ones that have come up have been really good, haven't they? They're very impressive. I still haven't managed to solve this problem down here with the iron. I don't know if it was the iron chelates. Actually, they do look marginally improved, but marginally improved.
Well, where they on one if you have a look carefully.
But I also put some potassium fertiliser further up, so I'm not sure where I put the potassium. The leaves are looking particularly more dark green than normal, but they've still got that purple coloration. Actually, so in that case the purple doesn't look as bad where it did before. There might have been iron, but it's a funny thing because I must have had a lot of lime in the ground there to do that. Anyway, these dahlias are looking great. And the dahlia says, please subscribe.